underneath.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Football United TV. This is our World Cup Qatar 2022 vlog where we're going to be talking about the second games in the group stages. I'm joined by a very special panel today, and there might be more coming along later, wearing the special hat as well. And here comes the intro. Yes, people, welcome back to Football United TV. Really glad to be back with everybody. Esteban's back with us. How you doing, mate?
Doing good. I'm doing good. Feeling a little British around you guys here, having a Colombian coffee for a cold afternoon here in Colombia. So, pretty amazing so far.
Good, man. I wish I had a cup of Colombian coffee right now. That would be glorious. Stephen's in the house as well, mate. How you doing?
I think he's just stepped out, mate. He'll be back.
Just stepped out.
He'll be back. He's doing a number two.
Oh, there he is.
There he is. Oh, there he is.
Just preparing a drink. That's all.
How you doing, Stephen? You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. Obviously, up and down, but I'm okay. I'm just in football terms, I'm top of Group B and I'm top of the league. So I'm loving life.
He's very happy in the sweepstakes.
I was waiting for that. Took him about all of 20 seconds to mention that. That's top of the league.
Talk, how you doing, mate? Nice one for coming in.
Yeah, no problem, bro. All good here. I'm just enjoying the World Cup. I think it's been really great up to now. It took me a little bit of a time to get into it. I didn't have the World Cup fever, maybe because it's a Winter World Cup, but I'm now definitely knees deep, shall we say.
Nice, good expression. Brush, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Thank you for having me on again. It's a pleasure to be here as always. And like talk, yeah, I wasn't really in the World Cup mode, this time last week. It took me a couple of days, but yeah, we're getting there now.
We are getting there indeed. And we've just had the last of the second games of the groups happening. We saw Portugal and Uruguay, and Portugal prevailing 2-0. So, of course, we did a watch along on your channel, Talk, on Football versus Cancer. Brilliant channel. If you haven't seen it or heard of it before, please check out and subscribe to it. It's amazing. Does watch alongs for every single game of the World Cup. So please go over there. What did you make, starting off with Esteban, mate? What did you make of this game tonight and what it means for the group going ahead for the last fixtures?
Okay, as I was saying, I was expecting a lot more from Uruguay tonight. I think that the South American team could have offered many different things. I can understand why De Azcarreta is not playing as a starting right here, because he is your old and classic number 10 player, but he has a lot to offer to a team with two strikers like Cavani and Darwin Nunez, as they started today. So kind of disappointed about my fellow South Americans right here, but I think it was a comfortable win for Portugal. They didn't struggle that much to win tonight.
It didn't. It looked to me, talking on Football versus Cancer, when we did the watch along, it looked to me like Uruguay were trying to get them maybe on the counter attack, possibly. It didn't seem like they could sort of compare to the way that they penetrated Uruguay's defense. Would you agree with that?
It is strange or kind of weird to see how they are not that you expect to have more attacking style from this team, with players like Valverde that has a lot to offer both in attack and in defense. But I don't know, when you play as someone like Cavani or Suarez, it's not just about Cavani. Um, you are kind of losing one player when you are trying to tighten the play. So it's weird because you didn't see anything. You didn't see a playing style. You didn't see any different offer from the Uruguayans. So that's what disappoints me the most, actually.
Yeah, would you agree with that, Stephen, mate? What did you think of the game? You said it in your own thoughts just before we started the live stream, mate. But tell us.
In terms of Portugal game
Yeah.
or just in general.
Well, you can talk about the Portugal game, the South Korean Ghana game. That was amazing. A 3-2 for
Yeah.
Ghana, of course.
I think with Portugal and Uruguay, I think obviously in the end Portugal's quality did shine through in the end. They just had a little bit more quality than Uruguay. They seemed to dominate their midfield seemed to dominate more of the game than Uruguay, and you saw it in the possession stats as well. And you saw those clutch moments from Ronaldo again coming through, being that target man. Uruguay, they were impressive and they did so coming through, but Uruguay just lacked that cutting edge up front when they did get forward. They now play obviously coming up against Ghana. I do feel Uruguay have got the talent to beat Ghana, so that's all they need to get through really. But then again, South Korea might face a Portugal side that's got a weakened side. Yeah, so that's the advantage of winning the first two games. But yeah, I think today's games have been quality. Like the Cameroon's game before that was absolutely. It was going to be that's a classic group stage game. Both teams going for it, knockout. It's like a knockout football game rather than a group stage game. So but in the end, Portugal just getting the job done that they need to, and now they can sort of relax about who comes next. But it's wide open for anyone. I think Group G and Group H, the doors are wide open for everyone behind either Brazil in Group G and behind Portugal in Group H. It's all there to play for.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think a lot of the groups are like that at the moment. I still think a lot of teams can get through. We saw Costa Rica obviously losing their first game by a lot of goals, and literally they
Group
can
B
still...
is definitely one. Group
They
B
can
is
still
definitely
top...
one.
Costa Rica can still top their group, and they lost 7-0 to Spain. Brush, what did you make of... I mean, the Ghana result was very good for Ghana. I think they went down 2-1, didn't they? And they pulled it back.
Yeah, brilliant fight back, and they were very unlucky against Portugal as well. If you run that game back, I thought Portugal were quite lucky to come away with all 3 points there, and this sets up a brilliant fixture, especially considering what happened in 2010. I know a few of my lot are Ghanaians, and they've had their eye on this game from when the draw was made, because of that history with the Suarez and the Asamoah Gyan penalty and all that that happened. So yeah, this sets up a really nice game for that final game between Ghana and Uruguay. So looking forward to that. Generally speaking, I would say that the top teams haven't really impressed me. You know, I just feel like the quality hasn't really been there. I don't know if it is the fact that it's wintertime and the players' mindsets aren't really, adjusted to the World Cup thing. Maybe it's because tournament football is a bit different, and I certainly expect the levels to go up a bit once we reach the knockout rounds. It just feels like the bigger teams have been going through the motions at the moment. I don't know what you guys think. I've been a lot more excited by the smaller nations, like the Cameroons, and they've really come out of the blocks, and it's been a lot more enjoyable to watch.
I agree. I'll let Talk carry on with that. Would you agree with what Brush said there, mate?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a bit difficult, hasn't it, for some of the big teams, shall we say? They've not quite hit the standards that we would expect. But surely that's got to be something that some of the other teams need to worry about going into the next, into the last 16, because it's only a matter of time before, your big teams with the big reputations do sort of fire on all cylinders. And when that happens, my biggest worry for anybody is Brazil. Once they click properly, I think Brazil are going to be a team for anybody to deal with, with the strike force that they've got. I felt a little bit for South Korea today. I thought Ghana kind of switched off a little bit when they got in front. I thought they switched off a little bit too early, and South Korea, they really battled hard and got themselves back into it. So that was an unfortunate game. But going into the Uruguay-Ghana game, for some reason I just fancy Uruguay in that game. I don't know why, because again, in that game we've just watched tonight, Uruguay and Portugal, Uruguay left it far too late to actually make more attacking changes and actually put the pedal to the metal and go for it. I think if they would have done that a little bit earlier, I think they could have caused Portugal.
I'll tell you what, Talk, as well. I think one or two of their key players, they've just aged a bit too much, haven't they?
Yeah. We're talking Godin, Suarez, Cavani.
Yeah, Cavani. A few of them, they're all the wrong side of 30. If they're a couple of years younger, it'll be a whole different game.
You see, what they were doing basically was in that first half, they were not wanting to try and do too much in the midfield, obviously because of the threat from Portugal with some of the quality they've got in that midfield. So they're trying to push it over for Cavani to kind of get his head on, knock it down.
And even with Portugal, I wasn't overly impressed with them. I think their manager's complicating things.
Yeah. It's I don't think they've got any chance of winning the tournament, in my opinion. Not at all.
Not playing that kind of football. Way too pragmatic for me. And then play your best players in your best positions. Why is Bruno out wide?
The one thing I would also mention, I echo what Talk was saying about with the big teams as well. Like the group stage has always been a great thing to see, like smaller nations like Saudi Arabia, for example, come out of the blocks and fight.
What a story that was!
Germany, Japan and Germany as well, and Saudi Arabia can still get through as well, like with that win, even though they lost the second game. Like in the first game, that Argentina, it feels like with some of the big teams, they've gone into the first half dominating it, thinking they can just continue at that same pace. Maybe sometimes playing the earlier games in the climate they left themselves, say like Japan and also the Saudi Arabia game against Argentina. They were so dominant and so trying to catch them out on the break and this, that and the other, that it seemed to be that they ran out of energy in the second half, and all of a sudden you had Saudi Arabia, who were probably more adjusted to the climate, being able to get there faster than Argentina, win the second balls better, and cause more of a problems in the second half and pick themselves up. So you got that to consider. But like you were saying, with teams like Brazil and Argentina, they've struggled, but the thing with Brazil is sometimes they've had struggles. I think 2002 they had a struggle when they won the World Cup then in the group stage. They weren't completely firing all cylinders, but they were doing enough to get into the next round. And
they went down 1-0 to England, didn't they, Brazil?
And they had a player sent off in that game as well.
Yeah.
And I think it was down to England not to make more attacking changes in that game. But if you look at their bench and you look at the squad they've got, if you look at and to be fair, like the thing with Portugal is I know they're trying to use Cristiano as a target man. For me, you've got other players like Andre Silva that you can use that can be a completely different dimension as well, and sometimes you might need to start looking at that. But Argentina, Brazil, I think Brazil in particular, you look at their bench, it's mad. I mean, even France people have been sleeping on France because they're a recent form going into the World Cup. But if you look at their bench, if you can keep Saliba, Kanate, Mandanda, Camavinga on the bench, it shows how much you've got quality in that side.
Agreed.
Same with Brazil.
I mean, the fact that they didn't call up a replacement for Benzema speaks volumes.
Exactly.
Guys, we will get on to the Brazil and all that. I just want to ask big up to Bargav as well for coming in, bro. What do you make of this group, and how do you see it finishing up on the last games, mate?
No, I see. So here's the interesting point. You guys bring up some good points. I disagree on the Portugal takes because I think Portugal's look really good this time. Actually, there's a lot of games like in the Euros, and I've seen some tournaments with Portugal. It is very disappointing to see them play with that talent. For me today, I thought Portugal was nice. There were with Uruguay. Here's the thing: they've always like that dark horse team, and this is the most disappointing Uruguay I have seen. They have had 2 grudge matches, right? Because Portugal, they eliminated Portugal in like the last World Cup, so this was a grudge match. They have Ghana next. That's gonna be a grudge match.
Yeah.
So I can't see them getting out of this group actually. Like, and they'll be back. They have a lot of quality. That nation gets underestimated, but even South Korea, I can't see South Korea beating Portugal. But so for me, I see Portugal and Ghana going through.
Completely agree, and I'm glad you brought up the grudge match, because obviously Ghana, we said about this earlier, in 2010 had the chance to score a goal, and Suarez handballed it off the line, didn't he? If you do remember that, and Sian, I think it was, who was playing in the Premier League at the time, he missed the penalty, and it was, I think, an African nation's chance to get to the semi-final for the first time. So there is a little bit of grudgement and payback to be had there. So right, we'll move on to.
It could be worse, Matt. It could be worse. I mean, like he could, if you don't feed Suarez a Kit Kat, he might be able to chew his way through the defence.
Exactly, he needs to put sink his teeth into the game next time, doesn't he? That's the thing.
Watch out, Chiellini.
So we're moving on to Group G then, because obviously Brazil played Switzerland today, and Cameroon and Serbia. Esteban, going on to you, mate. What did you make of this group's second games, and how do you see things going into the last but final game?
When Neymar was left because of his injury for this game, we all thought that maybe Brazil was going to lose some of his attacking style, that explosiveness that Neymar's offered, that magic. But definitely, it's a complete squad. I think it's the most solid one. I will be telling it every time I speak about Brazil. They made, and it seems like they win, even if the score is not that big or that large. When you see the game, they didn't struggle to win. You know. They even had a goal invalid for offside from Bini, so they don't struggle. It's just like they are having a training session with every single team. Like they are just juggling around, and that's it. It's incredible to see how large Brazil's squad is and how every single player has different things to offer, because. For example, at the second half, Tite took both Richarlison and Rafinha out, and he sent Gabriel Jesus and Anthony. So similar positions, but different players, different attitudes, different qualities, different skills. So it's amazing. It's just amazing, and I can see right here that. I will make my bet, and I say that Uruguay is going to win against Ghana, and they are going to face Brazil in the round of 16s.
I feel bad for them. Yeah, I feel bad for them for that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a full South American round of 16s match with this Brazil against Uruguay, but it was great. It was a great game for Brazil. Just fun to watch.
I'm guessing they allowed the Casemiro go. That was a wonderful taking goal, wasn't it? That.
Yeah,
he has a lot of goal. When you think about CDM, but Casemiro has a lot of goal. He has a great long shot, and he will always, wherever he goes into the attacking positions, he's always dangerous. He even hit the post in first game, right?
Yeah.
So there's his goal, and he said it. He said it before the match. When you think about losing Neymar, you expect that Brazil is going to lose a lot, but they are not going to suffer that. Of course, Neymar is going to add more things and the star that he is, but definitely they are the most solid squad around.
They are, aren't they? And Bargav, you were going to crawl in on that.
Yeah, let me say something about Brazil before like everyone gets in on this one, because I like this team a lot. They have a togetherness, which reminds me of Arsenal. They really are together, and there's from beginning to end, it's amazing. Neymar's going to be back in 2 weeks. Everyone knows it. Like he'll be back in 2 weeks. He's not missing the group stage. He's not missing the knockout rounds. But even then, like everyone's playing for him because they respect Neymar a lot. Like the team respects Neymar a lot. His nation is a different story. The nation is very split on Neymar because of just politics and expectations and whatnot. But as far as the team goes, they were brilliant. Anthony played well today, and I always look at it and I say, like, Rafinha wasn't for me. I didn't really like Rafinha in the game today, but they have so much quality. But their togetherness is kind of what helps them. Like Vinicius played well. Casemiro played well. The defense was outstanding. I can't see a defense. I haven't seen a defense like that in the. I don't know. You guys can comment on it. Have you seen a defense like Brazil's that are just that solid in the tournament?
Maybe Italia, some years ago, but not that good
Not
as
in
this
this
one.
tournament.
Not
yeah.
in this
Think-
tournament.
And this one, or no, definitely not.
No, Brazil have been fantastic at the back. There's no two ways about that. But we've got to remember as well that, like I said before, they're just cantering at the moment, in my opinion, Brazil. And that's why I said, going into the games where it's going to start to really matter, I can't imagine for the life of me that Brazil are going to go backwards from this stage. They're only going to go forwards and improve. So for me, they're the team to beat in this competition. Said that from the start. When you look at their squad, they're having 9 forwards in that squad who are all individually quite decent, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's
And the unique thing, Talk, they all offer something different, don't they?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. That's the thing. So, it's the coach has got so many options available.
It's like it's like having a Swiss Army knife. You've got something for every situation you go into.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
That's the best way to put it right there.
Yeah. Because looking at that squad, the only weakness I really see, and this is probably, it comes down to their fullbacks, and even then, it's the backup options I worry about. As a first 11, is totally fine.
Switzerland haven't done too badly. I mean, second in this group right now. Wouldn't have predicted it, but they seem to be picking up from, years of probably hurt of not actually being able to qualify to the next rounds, and they are very close to doing it now.
Yeah, I mean, who's Switzerland's next game against Serbia?
Yeah,
And Serbia are sat there on the bottom with 1 point. I mean, you back Switzerland surely in that one to beat Serbia, because I would.
You just never know, though, do you? Talk. This is one of those where I think any of the other 3 could end up going through.
Yeah, I mean, that game itself, though, the Cameroon and Serbia game, 6 goals. I mean, in a perverted kind of way, that suggests maybe how poor the teams are. That they both scored 3 goals, none have not managed to win it. But then when you look at the other results, for Serbia especially, it's yeah.
what's Group G and H? What's Group G and H? The greatest thing? The groups are almost done at the top. Like Brazil and Portugal are most likely won the group. I think they've pretty much won the group, actually. So we're not seeing a Ronaldo like Neymar clash, which is nice. But the rest of the groups have something to play for on the final day. So that very last match day on Friday, you're gonna look at there's gonna be something to be played for.
There is going to be, absolutely indeed. We will move on then to Group F, and we'll ask Stephen first, mate. What did you make? I mean, Belgium and Morocco. Didn't expect Morocco to get that result. And Belgium have been very poor, haven't they, recently? And Croatia really killed off Canada at 4-1. What did you make of them results, mate?
I'm glad you've asked me about Belgium. Right?
Go on.
They've spent how long has Roberto Martinez stayed there? For about
7 years. 7
Am I
years.
there?
I can hear you. 7 years.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're there.
Yeah, sorry. Look. The thing about Belgium is that this team lacks desire. It lacks passion. It lacks work rate. It lacks acts like it doesn't even want to be there. Like in the first 2 performances they've played. Like for me, like they deserve to be. They didn't deserve to be beaten by Canada. Canada were far better. They did deserve to be beaten by Morocco, right? And I'm sorry, this team is a joke. And the fact they've wasted 6 years under Martinez, right? A manager who wins an FA Cup and gets relegated in the same season, and you want him as an international manager. I'm sorry, the guy's a joke. I think the problems were already there before. Am I there again?
You are here, mate. We can hear you. You're there. We can hear you, mate. Keep going.
Right, sorry if I'm cutting out all the time, but yeah, I'm sorry. Like, but the problem's already there before even Henry turned up, but he doesn't help the issue either. But like for
Yeah.
me, like this team doesn't deserve to be there, and they've wasted all that talent, their golden generation, on a manager who's not even capable of getting them to a final. And FIFA want to rank them as world number one when he can't even get there. Come on. Like,
I
like,
agree,
the-
100%.
Sorry,
100%, Stephen.
On-
I tweeted the other day.
they
And
are
I
a
said,
joke.
Martinez and Henry stick to punditry because you've got no clue about management. That is a shock. It's absolutely dreadful for that team. Belgium. Let's be fair. Let's if we pick the teams apart, in my opinion, Belgium is the best team on paper in this World Cup in terms of individual ability
I'm
and players.
giving up with this internet, mate.
Right? They're top quality side. Belgium. They should be doing far better than they are. No two ways about that. And Roberto Martinez, crikey. Are they sticking with? Surely they're not going to stick with him after this. If they don't get through.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Talk. I think they totally failed to capitalize on their golden generation, and now age is also catching up with that squad.
Yeah, it's also an aging squad
it's-
as well. And I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this team are a joke. Like sometimes you meet someone at work and they don't, and you can tell that they don't like being in their job. Right, they're miserable as sin. I've had that sometimes when with people being in an hospital. Right, if you're that miserable, right, why do you freaking go to work? That's how they've been acting throughout this World Cup. They've acted like they don't even want to be there. They
Ooh,
don't.
I'd like to,
Why do you bother qualifying? Go to somewhere else.
Esteban, what do you think on
Sorry,
that? Do you think that, Esteban?
They don't even deserve to be in the top 10 right now.
I don't know if they don't deserve to be in the top 10. I mean, they are
No,
very
I'm
solid
giving
squad,
up
but
this internet is fucking
but-
shit.
Stephen, we can hear you. Just calm down.
Yeah,
Esteban, continue.
this internet is a joke. Right?
I know, mate. We got you. Esteban, continue.
we all suffer from the same all over the world, guys. Don't worry. So, as I was saying, yeah, maybe they are not supposed to be as top as we expect them to be. But I completely agree with Kevin De Bruyne what he said recently that maybe they are too old now. I think their really good chance was the last World Cup. Now, I don't agree with Talk right here because they are not the most solid squad. Because if you check at the defense, they are not maybe as solid as Brazil, as Vargas said previously. So definitely, you have a lot of experience, but if you can mix it together with new generation players, I think it's going it's just not going to work. And we all can see that Roberto Martinez experience with Belgium is going to end up as soon as the Belgian path ends in the World Cup. So I think that's going to be it for the Spanish coach. But everyone is disappointed about Belgium, and it's going to be the disappointment of the World Cup. Right? I think that we all agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they should have really got something out of the 7 years they had with Roberto Martinez. Do you agree with that, Brush?
Yeah, most definitely. But I think, especially when Company was still around as well, that was the key time. There was definitely a time when I looked at that squad and thought, the only thing missing really is fullbacks. And every other position they had someone of real quality. Whereas now,
Can I just ask?
it's Asian. Yeah.
Can I just ask quickly? Have they even won a Nations League? And by the way, big up to Anthony. I hope his son gets better. Yeah, have they even won a Nations League?
I don't know. There's only been 2 teams that have won Nations League. So does that matter?
Well, no. I'm just saying. There's that. There's not so much of as big a tournament as a World Cup or a Euros, I say, but it's still
It's
a decent
glorified
tournament.
friendlies, isn't
Well,
it? Really,
that's what I'm saying.
Nations
Like,
League.
it's not as like compared to what some like tournaments are. It's not as big. Like, and they can't even win that. Like, they can't even win that. If they can't even win that, then like
I
with
think
that
the only
squad-
thing that they've achieved that they've never achieved as a national team is get 3rd place in 2018, which again, at least they've gone further than they ever have. So I have to give them a little bit of credit to getting at least 3rd place.
But
And
again,
we've
but
never got
again-
that as an England nation, so we
No,
got
but
to
again, Matt, again, Matt, I hear what you're saying. Right? Say like we never got to a final in the Euros or something like
Yeah.
that. Right? But in the end, with that talented squad, we should have won in the Euros. Right?
Yeah, but we
But
didn't.
we
I,
didn't.
I think
Right?
sometimes as well we
Uh,
are too critical because we've had golden generations,
Mm.
but then you look at other teams who've also had brilliant players and they didn't
Yeah.
get anywhere either. As much as like we talk about the Gerrards and Lampards and Ferdinands and how good that England team was,
well,
if we look at the Netherlands team of back then, they were real quality, and it's shocking that they never won anything.
But
Yeah.
even the team we have now, even if the decent team we have now compared to what Italy was doing, which was on its last legs, like for example, so there's really some old big up Charlie. Big up Charlie, but I haven't seen you around for a long time. But I hope you're well. But yeah, like compared to the Italian side, who don't forget by the next year they couldn't even qualify for the World Cup, right? For example, like which shows how much their squad was aging. We couldn't put them away against in a final. So in the end, as much as people say, yeah, they got to a third place in the end, what does it matter? You still
Well, it doesn't matter, but at the end of the
compared
day,
to what
they,
you've had.
no, I know, but you have to say they've gone to the furthest point that they've ever been, and give them a little bit of a handshake for it. They should have done better. We know, Stephen. I completely
Yeah,
agree.
that's
with
what
you.
I'm saying. Is
But they have done better than what they have done before, so it's not been completely unsuccessful to say they haven't even made World Cups or Euros. It's not good, but they should have won it. But at least they've made some sort of history for the national
have they
team, and they've
got
got
any
some target to
talent
beat
coming
now.
through though? Have they got any young talent coming through? For the
They
future?
will have, mate. I'm pretty sure. We saw Spain, like they had their time off of the top perch, didn't they? And
Yeah.
now they seem to be coming back a little bit slowly. Okay, before we move on to the next group, any words from anybody here, and you can anybody can jump straight in on it. Canada. What can we say about Canada? Because obviously they're hosting the World Cup next time around, so they will be in it anyway. He doesn't have to qualify.
If I was going to say about Canada, I'd say that I think the naivety of a young squad sort of got to him in the end. I know they haven't been in a tournament for the into a World Cup for 36 years. I've been on Moss's channel about it, and obviously he gets very hyped over it. And I saw Miss Mel that they didn't get to qualify, but for the next stage. But they are a young squad. They've got very good talented players. Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies in there as well. I'm sure there's a few others that I haven't mentioned. But what I will say is this is not going to... Even if they weren't hosting the World Cup next year or in 4 years' time, or this is a team that's only going to get stronger and more experienced in going to major tournaments. So I think 2026 this is like, you know how England took a young squad in 2014 and used it as a learning curve for the young squad. I think it's sort of sacrificing the tournament in a sense. I think this what could be done for Canada. It gives them the experience they need to take into their own World Cup, and then also to possibly 2030 as well. Because I think that team will find more talent coming in, and I think that team is really growing into that. I don't think will grow to win the competitions, but into
Canada,
a very
no
strong
chance.
team that can but to a team that regularly competes. And in the 2 games they've shown, yes, they haven't won those games. In the 2 games they did show, they showed they had they definitely had something about them, and that Canada is growing in its football and its talent.
Is
The one thing, a problem with that Croatia game, and that what showed the naivety in that game, is the midfield. They never got near Modric, Brozovic, and Kovacic.
Yeah,
if you
mate.
give that midfield three at Canada all that space that they did, you are going to, even if it's just Modric you did it to, they are going to tear you apart.
Yeah.
So that's the naivety that came through in that game.
Yeah, completely agree with that. Esteban, I was looking at Buchanan as well for Canada. He had an amazing game yesterday, very impressive for me. What did you make of them, even though they have failed to get any points at this moment in time? But they got the goal that they really wanted. They never scored in a World Cup before, so give them a free. See, Stephen, it's not always about if you reach something that you've never reached before. Esteban, what you saying?
That's baby steps. That's baby steps. I think that
Yeah.
I was very excited when Davies scored, because it was just pure magic that your most famous footballer all over the world scored your first World Cup goal ever.
Good goal
So
too.
I always said that the disappointment of this World Cup was going to be Croatia, because they are coming from being the runner up in the last World Cup, and now they don't have this strong squad as they had before. But definitely the great mix of, as I said, that Belgium maybe is missing, of old generation and new generation. They are trying to stick up together and just trying to make as good as they can. I really love players like Kramaric, that he scored, and I'm just so in love with Josko Bardio, the player from Leipzig. He's just
Yeah.
great. He is such an amazing defender. He is really strong. He is really fast. And he is being a key player for Croatia nowadays. So they just play good as a team, and this is something that most of these big teams that are not doing good are missing. So I think it's going to be an interesting match against Morocco, but Canada is of course left out of this World Cup, but they have nothing to lose. As I said, their big move was to be in this World Cup, and they ended up ahead of the United States and Mexico. When you think of North American football, you only think about United States and Mexico. So just that, with that being said, and the fact that they already made it through, and as Steven said, they are going to be in the next World Cup already. So you need to work with these guys. You already put them on the spot, on the world spot, by taking them into the World Cup. So definitely they will have more to offer in the next World Cup. I just hope they can score a little bit more in the next game. But I will enjoy to see Morocco going to the next round.
Yeah, that would be good to see Morocco going through. It definitely would. They deserve it. Ziyech had a brilliant game. Let's move on to Group E then, because we haven't got too long left, and we've got loads of groups to go through. This is a very exciting group, ladies and gentlemen. Really good game last night as well. Germany and Spain, and of course Germany getting their 1 point that they needed to stay in this competition. Let's starting off with you, Talk, mate. What did you make of this? We did a watch along for that game, of course, and Japan, of course, losing to Costa Rica, which puts things even. Steven, really, anyone from this group now can go through.
Yeah, I mean, interesting group. The Germany game last night, I mean, Germany have been very disappointing, to say the least. But I was more surprised that Japan, I think Japan are, I think they're a good side, and I like the tenacity and the energy that they bring. So to get beat by Costa Rica, I think was maybe something they're not expecting. But as we can see here, looking at the points, Spain on 4, they're going through. But it's for Costa Rica on -6 and Japan on 0. My money's on Japan to go through, if I'm honest. I don't see.
Ooh.
I mean, Germany, I think Germany play Costa Rica.
Costa Rica.
So, Costa Rica beating Japan, and Japan beat Germany. Costa Rica, I don't think Germany are really there this World Cup, if I'm honest with you.
I'll tell you what, so I think the Japanese manager made a huge error in judgment, because he made 5 changes going into that second game. I think they should have rode the wave and not changed it too much, and have looked to secure that second win and then rest up players for the final game. But they lost a huge opportunity there for me. But it's very exciting the way it's set up now, because obviously now Germany need to absolutely batter Costa Rica the way that Spain did, and they need to also hope that Spain beat Japan.
So what is it? Spain got a win. I don't know whether Esteban or Bargav or anyone knows this, by 2 goals. Is that right? Germany
No,
got
they
a win.
pretty much got to win to top the group. They got to win, right? Like, because Costa Rica, because they're all played on the final day, so they better go into it like they got to win, like, because they're all at the same time. So you're not having that luxury of seeing that you only need a point. So they better go into that game like thinking to win. With the Costa Rica Germany thing, that's gonna be a massive failure on Germany's part. They already have enough going on with the failures of the past. Like if they don't win that game, that's gonna be the pressure's gonna be on them from the media, etc. Like they have a decent squad. Like they should. You got Musiala. You have there's so many great players on that Germany team when you think about it. Like
Kimmich.
I think the coach has to be a bit brave with their attacking talents.
Sane. I mean, there's so many. There's with that talent, like it's inexcusable for any Germany team.
Sane, Brush, I mean, he's only been used really as a substitute, hasn't he?
Yeah. In previous tournaments, he wasn't even taken. So,
Right.
and I've always found it surprising. I always thought he was a quality player. We saw the best and worst of him yesterday. You saw that speed as he sprinted away, but then you need to do the simple things and pick out passes. So the decision making isn't all there. But they've got some very exciting players when I look at that bench. But now they've left themselves in a situation where I don't know if they'll risk it going into the last game. But the young kid Makoko looks to be a very exciting talent. He's already scored in double figures in Bundesliga this season. Adeyemi's another young one. But yeah, it just depends if the manager's brave enough to utilize some of the talents at his disposal.
I like this group because I hated Germany and Spain growing up. So this group is amazing.
Depending on which era, Bargam, I totally agree. Yeah.
You can't say that without saying why. Please elaborate.
What Spain?
Yeah, why?
Because they used to. Okay, so I actually was rooting for the Netherlands at that one cup, and Germany, them winning it in Brazil. I feel like Messi should have won that World Cup to an extent. So and Messi, I wanted either like Brazil. I mean, if I get like, there's a part of me that didn't want Argentina to win that World Cup because it's in Brazil, and I know what that's like. I know the stuff that comes with. All right, it's gonna be the biggest disrespect if like Argentina wins it in Brazil, right? So, but I still wanted. So Germany like winning it, like I mean, it was kind of like. I didn't really like the German team growing up. I'll put it that way. There was a lot of times I just didn't like. They kind of grew into things. They were in a sense, right? Like Germany, they won they had some teams, but I just never liked them. I'll put it that way.
I'll tell you what, Bargam. Growing up here, our greatest memory was beating Germany 5-1 in a friendly.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, the reason I just don't like the Germans because they keep knocking us out of tournaments. Simple as that.
Apart from the last one.
Yeah, last one was great. Last one was great.
Yeah, I know, but that's why I hate penalty shootouts. When it comes to England, when it comes to the French, I just generally don't like them. So that's just me. Like I just don't like them.
All right, no xenophobia on Football United TV.
No. It's just me. That's my honest opinion. I just generally don't. Like, but look.
You don't like Thierry Henry, no? Don't like Thierry Henry.
He's an exception.
Don't like Emmanuel Petit, no? Don't like Emmanuel Petit.
Well,
no,
okay,
he actually speaks sense about the club.
Here's the thing with France. Here's the thing with France, right? Like I loved France, like growing up with Henri, Zidane. That was a different France. When they got Mbappe and they got this new generation and they like finessed their way through like a World Cup, I wasn't a fan.
Yeah, I have shared the I think it only says one win on this or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, sorry, my bad.
That's
anyway,
the same, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm looking at the table now. Like if Germany won, it would have been like mad. It would have been or everyone on 3 points. So. I mean, for this group, I do feel Spain might sort of. I think Spain is safe no matter what happens. To be fair, unless
They're
Germany
not, though, are they?
Well, unless like there's an absolute.
We hope.
if Japan beats Spain and tops the group, for example. Like Germany would have to absolutely.
No, mate. If Costa Rica
batter
beats Germany and Japan beats Spain, Spain are out. Germany are out.
Yeah. Sorry, mate. I can't think.
No. You were right. you find little things here and there. You got to think. All they got to do now. Every team has got to win to go through. If they win, they go through. Every team. That's how brilliant.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Mike.
No, you're right, mate. I've been It took me a long time to figure out some of the groups.
Yeah,
Me and Talk
usually
yesterday were like,
I figure them out quickly. That's the thing. I don't know why.
it's just
But
very
like,
different, isn't it? It's very different indeed, mate. We'll move on to Group D because we got only
I
about
will just say I was impressed with how Costa Rica picked themselves up after that battering,
yeah.
and I was impressed about how Japan managed to overturn Germany. I would like to see any one of them go through. Like, I mean, it would be mad if both of them went through. But I would say Japan might just edge it for me.
Maybe,
In
possibly.
terms of second place. Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be nice. Like, so.
Wouldn't be too bad, mate, would it? Wouldn't be too bad. Group D, then, ladies and gentlemen, Group D. Before we go into the Group D, I'm just going to read out a few comments because we haven't got very long to go. We probably will go just over the hour mark. Please do stay with us. Smash the like, share, subscribe if you can. Bobby K's in the house giving us a virtual spud and a blue heart. Big up to you, mate. Solo from the Man United Agenda. Good evening, gentlemen. Football versus cancer. That's talk. Yo, Solo. And Charlie Hibbert, evening people. A golden generation from Belgium. At least Kevin De Bruyne will be home early. Him and Haaland rested up. Big up, guys. Was going to jump on, but my son was sick. Hope your son's all right, Anthony. Hope you're good, bro. Charlie Hibbert says the 2 Nation Leagues winners have been Portugal and France. Anthony Herbert says, enjoyed the match. Watch along, guys, with Talk and Matt. Bruno Fernandes, man of the match. He could have scored 4 goals tonight. Completely agree. Charlie Hibbert says, in my opinion, this is the best group in the tournament, 4 good sides. And he says Canada finished above the US and Mexico in qualifying. Let's talk about Group D then, starting off with Esteban, mate. What do you make of this group and how it's going so far? Clearly France progressing through, the first team to do so, I believe.
The thing that impresses me the most is Kylian Mbappe about France. There are these kind of players that they perform well in their clubs, or there are these players that they perform well in just their nation. But this kid seems like he can do everything. So it's super impressive that he already has like same amount of goals as Cristiano in 5 World Cup, but he has only been in 2 and already won 1. So it's just amazing. It's just amazing. The France against Denmark match was really, really I really enjoyed that game. So, I mean, France is already there. I think that they are already thinking about who they are going to face. It's going to be Argentina. It's going to be Poland. But I think that after Brazil, this is the best, the second better squad around. So, despite of not having Benzema, that we have discussed that before right here in the show, they have different options, and Mbappe seems like he can take and carry his team whenever they need him, and that's it. That's it. I think Australia is going to be just in the same situation as last group. For Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia, if you win, you are in the next round. There is no chance to miss it. But that's going to be Tunisia against France. We'll never know what happened there. We'll never know if Tunisia is going to give us a big surprise before the group stages ends. And looking forward to this group as well.
Agreed. Yeah, like I think Denmark, I'd have presumed, Brush, that they'd be doing a lot better here. Australia are not doing too bad. Maybe for the first time ever, they can make it through the group stages.
Yeah, real possibility. Regarding France, I've not actually been that impressed. I just think they're in second gear at the moment. They've not really had to get out of it. They've not been tested, and they're just sort of going through the motions. And obviously, individuals, they've got such talented individuals that they're just swinging on by at the moment. But whilst all the attention is on Giroud, on Mbappe, I'd like to shout out Giroud. I think he's done very well. And I think it's quite telling as well that the fact that they haven't brought up a replacement for Benzema. It shows how strong that squad is, the belief they have. But Denmark in that game, I thought they were very unlucky in that game actually against France. The individual brilliance of Mbappe saw France get the win. But on another day, it could have been very different.
It'd have been talk, right?
Yeah, I mean, France, they're through. They're done. And I agree with what Bruce said there. they're not out of second gear yet. You know what I mean? They've still got an awful lot to give France.
Yeah.
But what I will say is Australia have done fantastic, but I can't for the life of me see Australia beating Denmark. I just can't. I just think Denmark are far too well drilled and compact and very direct when they get the ball and go on the attack. I don't think Australia are going to be able to cope with Denmark.
Talk, if they do, will you get your boomerang out in celebration?
Well, I think, mate, that boomerang's going to come straight out, sport, and I'm going to wallop it around. And it's going to go all the way around the world and come back and hit me right in the back of the napper. Right? But no, I'll tell you, I don't see Australia. I don't know if anybody agrees, but yeah, you can see the pub from here.
I think spirit can only get you so far, Talk. I think if it was Australia team from yesteryear, where they had some brilliant players, it might have been a different story. But I just think this Denmark squad have too much quality for them.
Yeah, 100%. Too technical. Denmark would be too technical.
Okay, we're going to move on to Group C then, and I'll let Stephen start. Go straight to Group C, mate. Let us know what you thought of this group so far.
I just want to say quickly about Mbappe's contribution in that.
Very quickly then, mate.
I will say Barga was here earlier. I'm surprised he's gone now. We had a massive debate about Mbappe, and then it is I'm sorry, but Bargav, you're calling him an Henry wannabe. And you're calling him that he's going to have no sort of great career, right?
I love it how you wait until he leaves to say this.
No, I would have said it. I would have said it here as well, mate. It was a massive 20-minute debate about it, and I'm like, I'm sorry, you're hating on Mbappe for no reason, mate. He's quality, and you saw it again against Denmark. Like he won France that game, but yeah. Argentina.
Yeah,
Argentina. Like I said, I would really love Saudi Arabia to get through in that group. I think Argentina will eventually overcome Poland and beat them. So yeah, I think then it's between Saudi Arabia and Mexico for me.
Oh, do you think the same, Esteban, there? What are you making? Do you think this could be the chance for Saudi Arabia to finally get out of the group stages for once in their history?
For sure. When I was watching the Saudi Arabia-Poland match, there was this time where Saudi Arabia was having control of the match. They could have scored 2 to 3 goals, and they could show the same things that they showed against Argentina in the second half against Poland. Kind of an unfair result for them right here. If they could have tied the match, it was going to be fair and they would be in a better position. But I think that with that being said, Mexico is on the complete other side. Mexico is a team without ideas right now. They are just thinking about defending. It's just the same. When I was watching the game against Argentina, it was the first half, of course. It was like watching the game against Poland. It was super boring game, no chances for every single team. So it was just played on the midfield, a lot of hitting everywhere, a lot of rough game. So I don't think that Mexico has a chance to win against Saudi Arabia. We'll never know, of course, but I think that this is the best chance ever for these guys, and they are going to make it through. They're going to make it through. I will also put my coins on them, and of course expecting that Argentina are going to beat Poland and they will be on top of the group to avoid France in the round of 16s and maybe meet Brazil in the semifinals.
Very well put, Brush. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is the best chance Saudi Arabia ever going to have to get out of the group. Mexico, unfortunately, don't have that focal point that they so desperately need. And it's a real shame about Raul Jimenez, and we know about the injury that he's picked up. And he's just not been the same player since, unfortunately. And they can't rely on Lozano and anyone else they have. They need a proper focal point in attack, which they're missing. But yeah. So best chance for Saudi to get through. But I expect the other two to get through as well. So,
I was just going to also add.
Tough one, innit? Talk. What are you saying?
Yeah, Saudi Arabia have been absolutely top draw. They're a fantastic team, full of energy, full of good ideas as well. They don't just waste the ball; they work the ball well. They protect the ball well. They're patient when they need to be. So I think for Mexico, it's going to be an exceptionally difficult game because I agree with exactly what Esteban and Brusher just said. But the one thing I would say Mexico's if Mexico if they're brave and they change it up a little bit, I think then they may have a
I'll
chance.
tell you what, that was the key, right? In the game against Argentina, I was
Yeah.
so shocked that even when they went a goal down, Mexico didn't then come out the blocks and start attacking.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Bruce. You know
So
what I mean?
that was the worrying sign for me. If you're not willing to change it up when you're a goal down with nothing else to lose with 10 minutes to go, then where do we go from here?
Well, that's where they're at right now, Mexico. They have to look at this and go, okay, look, let's get one last throw of the dice, be brave, change it up, and see what we can do against.
Yeah, they've got
Saudi
absolutely
Arabia.
nothing to lose now. Now you're playing for pride. Just go out there and try something different.
It's,
Yeah,
it's
so-
down to them two, innit, guys? It's down to them two to try and get the win there.
For me, what it's like Talk said with Saudi Arabia. They've really what I've been impressed with as well is the manager. Right, the manager, for example, I think it's Harvard Rene. I think it is his name. But he's a very good manager, and very good motivator as well. And for me, just Mexico, they're a decent side that would qualify out of the group area, CONCACAF, but they're just CONCACAF, sorry, but they have like Brush said, they haven't got a focal point, a target man, or any sort of real quality, and it's a shame because Raul Jimenez was doing such a great work before his massive injury. I think it was against the Arsenal game.
It was David Luiz.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he hasn't been the same player.
No, he won't be because I think the thing is he doesn't know whether to go up for headers and challenges, and he's got to wear a scar on his head.
Listen, psychologically, I can't imagine what he's been through and what it's like to be out there again.
The thing is for me as well is that Mexico just even apart from even they have Jimenez on top form, they just lack that quality around the pitch. Unlike Saudi Arabia, who just seem to have all this energy, and because also the thing that helps them is that they're literally next door to Qatar. They know this climate. They know how to play in this climate.
I'll tell you what, they're incentivized as well, Stephen. I heard all the players got Rolls Royces after beating Argentina.
But that's what.
But the thing is that they've got
Argentina out.
It's not the same environment necessarily because they've got air conditioning. There's only one stadium that hasn't, so I have to take that back a little bit because everybody's got to get used to air conditioned football because that's really a thing of the future and not the past.
To be fair, if you think that most of these teams in Saudi Arabia now, are you going to be playing in those sort of stadiums, whether it's Argentina?
They don't have air conditioning. Qatar's the only place that has
my bad, I didn't know.
facilities. No. That's what I'm saying. It's a new thing for everybody, and that's why FIFA wanted to change it to winter because they didn't think the technology would be good enough for the summer. But clearly it is. We're moving on to Group B then, ladies and gentlemen. We've got about 10 minutes left. Hopefully we can fit in these two groups, and of course we're talking about England. But I'll let my Colombian fellow DJ Esteban tell us about what he thinks of this Group B. What's going to happen here, mate? Are United States going to make it through, or is it going to be Iran? I don't think Wales are going to beat England by 4 goals.
I don't know who said that before, but I was really impressed about the fact that England wasn't offering too much on its attacking style. I think that Gareth Southgate forgot that he has Phil Foden on the bench, so that's pure joke. I think that the match against United States was super boring, completely different of what we saw right there. I think that we also discussed it that when they were going to face a stronger team, they will be struggling. But if they don't take this as an opportunity to keep growing against Wales, you said it. I mean, you are the British guy right here. The matches against Wales are completely different. It has a different taste for both the fans and the players. So it's going to be different, and I expect them to be what we all expect them to be, a favorite, a candidate to the World Cup title. So and about the Iran and United States, I just hope that it doesn't end in a beef against the countries and presidents and all that stuff. And I hope the United States goes through. I hope the United States goes through because they are working a lot on male football, and I think that this is a really good chance to make this happen.
That's a really good point, Esteban, because obviously America, I think they put up in a post maybe on their social media the Iranian flag without the middle part of the flag, which is the Islamic part of the flag. They cancelled it out. You can have a look on social media, and they've asked for USA to be banned from the World Cup, which is not going to happen. They've changed it all now; it's all gone back. But yeah, Brush, what do you make? This is a big game between the two.
Yeah. So, I mean, going into the tournament, mate, I expected us to get through in typical England fashion with a win, loss, and a draw. So, you know, making it more difficult for ourselves than it needed to be. And it kind of is working out that way, isn't it? You know, we looked very good against Iran. The quality of the goals. Sorry, what?
You think we'll lose against Wales?
We could do. Because, we went from the highest of the highs against Iran to being humbled by America. We had a lot of possession early on, which we didn't do anything with. And if we look back on that game, I think America actually ended up having the better chances. So it's one of those ones. It's one of those ones. We've made it more difficult for ourselves than it needed to be. And then obviously with Wales, because it's England, they'll be up for it. It's not going to be an easy game.
Yeah. Talk.
Yeah, I'm not going to mention the USA game.
Yeah,
no, that was null and void. Null and void. I mean, I just want to say from earlier on, we're talking about Canada quickly and the USA. I mean, we're talking about two countries that are not. No, football is not their national sport. So I think, in my opinion, they're always going to be behind. I don't ever see them until such time that the investment is huge. And I mean huge in terms of coaching as well from. South America and Europe in terms of coaching, managers, all that kind of thing. I think then they may be able to speed up the process, but until they do that, they're always going to lag behind, in my opinion.
I'll tell you what, though, Talk. In the last 20 years or so, I'd say with the MLS, we have seen improvements. A lot of that squad now play abroad, and it's testament to the talent they've got. I mean, even in the Premier League, we've seen it. At Leeds, for instance, with the likes of Aronson and the Americans that have come in and done well there.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just think this bit, you've got to think about the home. I had this conversation with Marley on the channel about the home of football, and I said it's coming home, and Marley said, "What, to Brazil?" And I said, "What do you mean?" No, to England. He said, "No, but Brazil is the home of football," and I had to agree with him because it is. Brazil is the home of football. We might have invented the game and all the blah blah or whatever. But
it's a typical pattern with all sports, isn't it? England invented it, and then somebody else perfects it.
You know what's a really good funny thing, actually? You know where baseball was invented?
Is that ours too? Is that here?
It's
Japan.
England.
It's English.
England.
Wow.
There we go. Wow. And the Canadians dominate that, don't they?
Yes.
I never predict that shit. Sorry, I never usually swear.
But going into these games, I want to just say quickly then that I think England, we're going to have too much quality and just too much class for Wales, unfortunately. So I think we're going to win that game tomorrow.
Yeah, on paper we should.
Well, yeah. United States and Iran, I just wish they weren't both on at the same time, but I might have to get two screens going because that game is going to be fire.
Oh.
That game is going to be fire. I'll tell you, there's so much, like you've said, what happened with the flag, everything else, the political rivalry, shall we say, everything that's been happening over the last few years.
They cut the diplomatic ties in 1980.
That is an absolute nonsense, by the way. You can't be editing other people's national flags.
No, it's out of order.
Yeah.
It is out of order. You got to respect. You got to respect the flag of nations. You can't go defacing them. It's absolutely ridiculous. So I
It's
think
like having
Iran.
the American flag and not putting all the stars in, and just like
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like if we
Exactly.
edit theirs, they
You
wouldn't
know,
like it, would they? So it's the same thing.
I think Iran will be absolutely fired up to the eyeballs for this game, and I just think the United States are going to come up croppers, and I think Iran are going to win that game. I just see Iran beating the United States.
I'll tell you what, Talk, before our game with them, coming into the tournament and that, they'd never really held a battering either, Iran. It was all close results. So they're
Well,
quite tight knit.
They beat
Yeah.
a full-strength Uruguay side only about a couple of months before the World Cup.
That's a very good point, Stephen.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah, so
Okay,
they're no
well-
pushovers. It's just that our quality
I
of
mean-
finishing, I think, was superior on the day.
Yeah,
think-
I completely agree. Okay, because we are over the hour mark, so let's briefly go into Group A, guys. Of course, Qatar, no points. That's unfortunate. You'd hope the host nation would be able to get something from this tournament, but they haven't been able to. Ecuador are doing very well. Senegal, Netherlands, of course. It's between all three of them. Who do you think will get through these guys? Starting off with Esteban, mate. What you saying?
Amazing. I think Ecuador is just being the surprise of this World Cup. They had a horrible first half of the match where the Netherlands were really ahead of them. I think that they could have scored like 3 or 4 goals in that half, but Alfaro, he's the coach from Ecuador. He's a really good coach. He has take small clubs and take them to the Libertadores right here in South America, and he's just amazing. He knew where the mistakes in the field were, and it was a complete different team on the second half, and then they could even win the game. I think the one of their goals was on offside, and then they managed to score another one. So it's just amazing to see how Ecuador is doing. I really hope that they will be on the top of this group by the end of this week. And with that being said, despite of Senegal winning again, Qatar, I think that they have no. It's not like they have no chance that we're going to see a 7-0 again against Senegal, but Ecuador is really ahead of this group right now. I think it's the most solid squad of this group.
Yeah, I don't think Holland have been that impressive. I think Ecuador have been. I didn't think that Ecuador were going to come through and do what they've done. Yes, of course they've drawn one, but they won their first result against Qatar, which is I don't think has been done for a very long time, where a host nation has lost their first game. So Brush, what do you make of this group, mate?
Yeah, I expect it to finish exactly like this. Come the next round of games, I expect Netherlands and Ecuador to go through. I haven't been that convinced like you with the Netherlands. I think they lack a certain clinical edge. I'm not sure where the goals are going to come from. That's the thing. Ecuador have been great to watch. The revival of Valencia has been quite nice to see. Those who've been watching the Premier League will remember him from his time at Everton and West Ham. Yeah.
Senegal are missing Mane, aren't they, Brush? Surely.
Oh, hugely, massive blow. Their best player by a country mile, and you can tell the difference he makes as well in some of the moves that they create. And there's just not that finisher there.
No, because obviously he won the African Cup of Nations with them this year. Yeah. So I mean, talk, mate. That's a huge loss for him. It would be different for him if he was there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, most definitely. Mane is a we all know about Mane, quality player. He's Senegal's talisman, and to lose him, I think is you're losing the needle from the thread. So the thread's just kind of it can't get through the fabric to bring everything together.
And it's a shame because he is that real difference maker, isn't he, Talk?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and again, Esteban talking about Ecuador. Yeah, and I agree with what Bruce just said as well. Also, this is how it's going to end up. Exactly as we are right now. Netherlands to go through unconvincingly, in my opinion. I also think that they're not quite ready yet to go and challenge for the World Cup itself. And it'd be interesting to see how far and who the Ecuador come up against, finishing second. because we know Netherlands are going to absolutely tear Qatar to pieces. As good as they're not, they're still good enough to really destroy Qatar, in my opinion.
I'd like to see Qatar beating the Netherlands and maybe at least getting one win. Stephen,
Yeah,
you're on
You're on
mute.
mute.
You're on mute there, boy. There you go.
Thank you. First,
You.
first of all, I do think Iran could upset the USA. By the way, I really do feel they, like Talk said, be fired up over the political issue. I mean, there's so much politics going on in this tournament; it's unreal. But for Group A, I mean, obviously, I've said it from the start of the group. Ecuador and Senegal was going to be the defining game. I think Netherlands were just going to be too strong to end up qualifying out the group automatically. Well, qualify out the group. I think Qatar, some people said they won't even score a goal, to be fair. So the fact they managed to score a goal and put Senegal under a bit of pressure, actually, to be fair, is not bad. And some of the results before the World Cup weren't too bad against some teams. So I think Qatar could be proud of what they've done. Obviously, I don't think they were ever going to win a game, which unfortunately. But look, I'm just going to say they've, as the hosts, they've managed to make a decent account of themselves. And but Ecuador and Senegal's obviously going to be the game that everyone looks upon, and I do feel as much as I would believe Senegal could end up winning the game, they could end up winning the game, that focal point with Mane being missed is what's probably going to undo them in the end. And I think Ecuador will just edge it. It's ever so close, and it can go either way. And I think both teams have played decently in the group, but I just feel that Ecuador, because of that missing of Mane, which helped them win the African Cup of Nations, if you don't forget, that extra bit is sort of, everyone sort of predicted when it happened with Mane that they would struggle to get out of the group, and I think that is what's proving to be true. They're just not going to be able to find. But
Yeah,
like I said, we've seen so many shocks already in the World Cup, so you could see a potential shock still, and they'll probably get through anyway. So it's up. In the end, I just don't want to see them like lay back. I want to see like a proper knockout game, and they go for it. If you know what I mean.
Well, let's hope so. I mean,
Qatar
will want to win. They'll want to win at least one game, or at least draw. I mean, they'll want to do better than losing every single game. So let's hope that does happen. We are at the end of the vlog, ladies and gentlemen. We have gone 15 minutes nearly over it, but there was a lot to talk about, and we have luckily done that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It means a lot. Smash the like, share, subscribe if you can. And we're going to go around to everybody and ask who you think is going to win the World Cup. And when you do give your answer, please tell us where everybody can find you on their social medias. Esteban, thank you for coming on again, mate. Who do you think's going to win it this year, mate? And where can everybody find you?
Well, heart says Argentina, but my common sense says it's going to be Brazil. The World Cup is going to come to South America after a long 20 years. Great jersey, by the way. So I think that, yeah, the World Cup is going to come to South America this year. You all can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Esfil. And that's going to be me. And thank you so much for having me. Nice to meet you guys. That's it.
Thank you, Esteban. This is the third time now you've been on for the World Cup, mate, and it's really good, mate, because you have a very good opinion, and it's an outside opinion. Of course it is, because of course Colombia are not in it, but they will be next time, mate. They will be.
Every single country in Latin America is going to be there, so I won't be impressed. I just want my team to get better and better, but we'll talk about it in another show.
We will, mate. We will wait. Thank you so much. Talk. Who do you think's going to win the World Cup, and where can everybody find you, mate?
My head says Brazil, my heart says England, so I'm going to go with my heart and say England. It's my country.
God.
I've got to back my country and go England. Hold on a minute, Stephen. Who put England in the final in the Euros? Only me. And we got
Yeah,
there.
all right,
So
okay,
don't forget that,
okay.
bro. All right. So, yeah. And you can find me on the Man United agenda on here and also on my channel, Football versus Cancer. Thank you very much for having me, Matt.
Thank you, mate, for coming on. Please go check out Football versus Cancer. Watch alongs every single day for the World Cup. You will notice that he's not missed one. So please go check it out. Brush, again, thank you for coming on, mate. Glad to have you on, not talking about Man United for once, talking about international.
Yeah, it's been a nice little refreshing break from United, hasn't it? So yeah, we're going to make the most of this for the next few weeks. I'm with Talk, mate. Before the tournament, if you asked me and put me on the spot, I would have said Brazil. But I'm going to go with heart and say England. But we'll see. It really is an open tournament, this one. I can't really call it, but yeah, Brazil or England for me. And you can find me on Twitter at Brushy87, all capitals. And yeah, I usually just float about, so you'll see me on the United agenda and here, there, and everywhere occasionally.
There you go, mate. Thank you so much, Brush, mate. Stephen. Where can we find you, mate? And who do you think is going to win the World Cup? Who right now at this moment in time?
Like Talk, my heart says England. My head is saying Brazil just because of their quality.
Mm-hmm.
Probably thinking this is going to be my last World Cup. I've got to go with my heart and say England.
There you go. Good lad. All right.
So Southgate, don't let me down, please. But yeah, you can find me at SVT TV. We do Arsenal Premier League content as a fully monetized channel. All of our proceeds, such as memberships, donations, and going to the Just Giving page directly as well. All of our money goes to Children's Liver Disease Foundation, just so it saves innocent kids' lives and stops kids ending up in sort of the same situation I am now. So so if you can go over there, give it a like, give it a sub, but make sure you also subscribe to Football United TV. Also follow these great guys as well, and also go and support Talks channel, which does pretty much the same thing but does it for Canada as well. So make sure you go and showing all of them some love and give them the sub and a like.
Brilliant. Yeah, please, everybody, go check out SVT TV. You do Formula One as well, don't you? And please,
Yeah, on
subscribe.
SVT F1 I do F1 now.
Go check it out. And I'm loving the Liam Gallagher look right now. Thank you so much.
I'm top of my group and top of the league, so I'm enjoying it while it lasts. Enjoying it every weekend.
All right, sunshine. All right.
I'm surprised those shades aren't gold tinted, Stephen.
I can get them be if you want them to be.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It means so much. And we will be back Friday. I think Michelle is coming on from CBS. You know Michelle. She's
Michelle Sanchez.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Michelle Sanchez is going to be coming on. And if anybody else wants to come on, you're more than welcome, guys. Esteban, hopefully we'll get what's his name now in Qatar? Sebastian.
Oh, Sebastian. Yeah. Hopefully, I will speak to him. Ask him if he will be available. I think that he will, but I will let you know as well. I think I can
was
make
meant
him
to be
call.
on tonight, but I think he had problems with the Wi-Fi at the hotel. He did say to me there might be.
And what's the time difference as well? That's probably might play a part.
No, right now he's in Qatar, so
okay,
he shouldn't have a problem. And actually, right here, for example, I'm in Colombia. It's only 5:30 p.m. So it would be go.
It's 1:30 a.m. in Qatar right now.
Right now.
Yeah, he's probably asleep, isn't he? He's probably on the booze because Mexico look like they're going out.
Yeah, it's just gone 10:30 p.m. for us.
So it'd be 12, 11, 10. It'd be about 9 o'clock when they start playing the late games. 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock over there.
Yeah, no, the 7 o'clock games here are 10 o'clock in Qatar. That's how crazy it is. They're playing up till midnight, which is
exactly.
very,
Imagine
very
if
weird.
they do penalties in extra time as well.
I know, yeah, it could be going to 1 o'clock in the morning, which it does happen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We are finishing up now. Be back. Rewind. We'll be back on Friday night, so please come and say hello. Until then, everybody, take care. Enjoy the rest of the World Cup. Come on.